wish to introduce Celal and give to him the floor. Celal doesn't need any presentation because yes, he's from Turkey IMC, but is the head of our PSC, our Professional Standard Committee. So welcome, Celal, and thank you very much for accepting the invitation to complete this the picture of our keynote speakers. I asked Celal to deal with the competencies, European and ICMCI perspectives, because we have a new competence framework we all have to adopt by this autumn, by this year. So it's completely renewed. But I wish as Euro Hub IMCs to create a sort of link between our competence framework, which is an integral part of our schema, with the so-called EQF, which is the framework defined by the European Commission is a recommendation, not compulsory, but is a recommendation to all the countries. So please, Celal, I give you the floor.
Thank you very much, Cesara. Hello, everybody. And I wish a very successful EuroHub meeting 2022 to first Cesara, Italian IMC, and the whole ICMCI community. So let me share my file. This presentation is a quick look at the European qualification framework and to compare it with our CMC framework in a very quick way at a high level. So competences, European and ICMCI perspectives. The purpose and brief information on professional competencies will be the first subject in the content of my presentation. I will briefly give information on the structure and key dimensions of the European qualification framework. And then I will go into a bit more details on ICMCI CMC competence framework with key aspects, approach behind it, and we'll make some conclusions. A quick look at the European qualification framework, levels and contents, and the competence CMC competence framework with the structure and approach. So when we look at the European qualification framework, it has 8 levels. And as Cesara has mentioned, it's a recommendation by European Commission. I have gone through the documentation and the Commission's recommendations, and also compared many IMCs and many qualification frameworks of the countries. I will not go into details of those countries, but I would suggest you, if you have time, just go and visit the EQF website, and you can compare frameworks, and you can go into many details and details on the competency frameworks and the logic behind those and supporting documents, additional information. But what we focus here is the levels which are more related to our CMC competence framework and the main content of these levels and overall aspects behind the framework for European framework for qualification and also our CMC competence framework. With this approach, I will focus on levels 6, 7, and 8, as you know, and these levels correspond to bachelor, master, and doctorate levels for many professions in many countries. I just tried to make a list or a table of summary for the levels in the European qualification framework, and it has dimensions related to knowledge, skills, and competence. And I focused on 6, 7, and 8, the levels 6 to 8, as I mentioned. And level 6 has advanced knowledge on the knowledge dimension, advanced skills, and managing complex technical competences. 7 is at the level of master's degree for many of the professions, highly specialized knowledge, specialized problem solving skills, and managing and transforming work or study contexts that are complex or unpredictable. In the doctoral corresponding doctoral levels, level 8, knowledge at the most advanced frontier level is the expectation on knowledge dimension. The most advanced and specialized skills and techniques for skills level, skills dimension, and competence level is more at a level of substantial authority, innovation, autonomy, and contribution to the profession. Indeed, we have similar dimensions in our CMC competence framework. We will see in a couple of minutes. And when we also look at the profession frameworks, qualification frameworks for professions in countries, there are definitions, responsibilities, performance indicators within the content of description of their profession frameworks, stakeholder relations management, sustainability, social responsibility. Some of them include SDGs and HSE, and policies, procedures, and implementation related subjects or responsibilities. Education and expertise also mentioned in those profession descriptions. Change management, and in most of them, continual professional development is an aspect for continuous learning and professional development. And again, most of them, in many of the recently developed one, ethics and professional code of conduct is also part of the framework in many professions in European examples. But I will not go into specific examples, just to give you some basic information, the main levels corresponding to our CMC and the content of the profession descriptions. When we come back to the structure of ICMCI CMC competence framework, we have these main areas like business insight and attitude, practice capabilities, behavior capabilities, code of ethics, and professional conduct. And these competencies also are divided into subtitles. I will not repeat all of them, and you see them on the screen, but they focus on the stakeholder relations, focus on the consultant himself or herself, and assignment on management methodologies, which is also related to ISO 20700, makes some links to the process of consultancy services. And consultative capabilities also is one of the aspects which is part of the practice capabilities, and behavior capabilities on the consultants' competency areas, including personal interaction, intervention skills. And at the end, we have also code of ethics and professional conduct, which is handled in a very detailed way. Although not seen at the high level now, we can also see links to the SDG and sustainability, social responsibility, stakeholder focus, continual development, professional development, and all other aspects. Because of time limitation, and I don't want to take your time with full details, I just mentioned these. If we focus on some of these, like business insight and attitude, we have some subtitles or competencies like A1, A2, A3, representing or combining into competency A, client business insight, functional and sectorial knowledge, consultancy differentiator, adding value. So very detailed, structured, and integrated way of description. In the business insight and attitude, the other part is about consultancy business insight, professional business competence, and consultancy and consulting competence development. These are all described for each level. Three of the levels in the CMC competence framework, as all of you know, the foundation level, CMC level, and the other level, we will also look at that one, contributor to the profession. The last one, as an example, code of ethics, professional conduct. We have links to sustainability, legality and compliance, and capability, which are related to handling complexity, demonstrating influencing skills, and communication skills and other aspects. Professionalism in consultancy, consulting and consultant, professional values, ethical focuses, operating with professionalism and integrity in all aspects of consultancy, and professional development. So these are all mentioned, as I said, for foundation, CMC level, foundation level, and profession leaders, which corresponds to level 6, 7, 8 as handled in the European qualification framework. And CMC competence framework is in such a structure that we have the number of the competence and the description at high level, client business insight, and including the sub-levels of competence, as I mentioned in the previous slides, and full description at foundation level, CMC level, and profession leader. And as you see in the foundation level, it is the basic level which needs to be understood for core business structures, processes, etc. And in CMC level, research and understanding the client business in a deeper way is a dominant aspect. But in the professional leader, credible depth of knowledge across range of disciplines, sectors, and business environments are more evident in the professional leader, because he or she is expected to be contributor to the profession and in the industry wherever relevant. I just wanted to share with you, also we have the ISO 27700 background in the competencies, and just wanted to share with you the overall content, the process approach behind ISO 27700, which supports the competency framework from process point of view, delivering the consultancy service, and CMC is about the set of the description of competences on the person, the consultant. So they work together as the description of process and the person's competencies. And policies are here just mentioned to cover a wide range of areas: stakeholder management, data protection, IP, QHSE management, risk management, and all the other relevant areas mentioned as policies to be taken into consideration during the delivery of consultancy service described in ISO 27700. And very simple and lean process, starting with contracting, continuing with execution of the consulting process, and the closure of the project. Very simple, lean, and easy. I have seen, as ISO 27700 trainer, I have seen in many trainings consultants like this, and they also found it very, very useful, the process approach and lean characteristic of the ISO 27700 standard, and also the checklist, of course, which was developed for the implementation. And aspects considered in implementation for ISO 27700, again, we have engagement management, delivery model, and assignment model. I will not go into details. You can always access these documents after the event. And another thing which I found useful to share with you, the dimensions in consultant maturity, there is also this approach or mentality behind the competence framework in ICMCI, CMC competence framework. One is about knowing, understanding, and applying, capability dimension. The other one is assignments, the process or implementation of the service from simple to complicated and complex, which is complexity of the assignments, and the behavior, what is expected from the consultant, how is done or how is demonstrated through the behaviors, and why is it done, why is it expected, what is behind, what the philosophy behind it, or what are the values, behaviors, and ethics. So this is so integrated and compact approach for the CMC competency framework. So overall, I would like to have an overall view to be shared with you. And in the center, we have the structure of CMC framework, but it is also integrated with continuing professional development. There are several items in a competence framework about continuing professional development, reflection and feedback, continued personal learning and development, and CMC global breadth of knowledge, skills, and abilities. So it works like in a PDCA cycle or PDCA philosophy for continuous improvement and continuous learning and development of the consultant with the competences inside as a framework. So again, I don't want to take your time with details, but try to give you an overall picture and compare it with the European qualification framework and ICMCI competence framework. And I have seen that really CMC competence framework is a very structured, compact, and integrated approach. Thank you very much. I just would like to add one thing. The deployment or implementation of the CMC framework will be realized in the following months, the autumn and the other months, and we are planning for that for IMCs and consultants for some training or webinar sessions.